What's up, my comic comrades? Over the past couple of years, we covered the first two titles in Peter David's Maestro trilogy, titled Maestro and Maestro War and Pax, and both were excellent. So today we are breaking down the big finale for Maestro Hulk's origin story, which concluded earlier this year with the 5-issue miniseries Maestro World War M. We're going to give you an overview of all 5 issues, so let's see how the end becomes the beginning for Maestro Hulk. Before jumping into issue 1 of Maestro World War M, remember at the end of the Maestro War and Pax miniseries, Maestro defeated Dr. Doom and nearly killed him in the process. In fact, the only reason Doom survived was by teleporting away at the last second. Then on the last page of the series, we see Abomination break through the ground coming out from the remains of the former AIM base, with the comic saying, "The Abomination returns in Maestro World War M," which is exactly where World War M begins. Issue 1 opens up with Abomination as a general in Moscow ordering Bruce Banner to create a bomb for him. Banner refuses, but as Abomination threatens his life, the Maestro walks in saying, well, what do we have here? The Maestro then makes quick work of Abomination, punching him out the building and causing Abomination to land on a car. Maestro then looks at Abomination from the top of the building while picking up his wife and snapping her neck in front of him. Then to add insult to injury, he throws her body down in front of him. Needless to say, this pisses Abomination off as he holds his wife's lifeless body. At which point an old m.o.d.o.k comes floating in, saying the world he's living in isn't real. It's a computer construction, a simulation. The real world has fallen into post-apocalyptic waste and you're being preserved with an AIM stronghold. Abomination says, "I don't believe you," at which point m.o.d.o.k proves it, causing Abomination to break free from the old AIM base, digging his way up to the surface as we saw on the very last page of Maestro War and Pax. Abomination then starts walking through the apocalyptic wasteland that is now Earth, saying to himself, he should have let me die. That damn m.o.d.o.k should have just let me die in my own oblivion. Abomination eventually makes his way to a harbor where he sits and stares at the water, trying to take in everything that's changed around him. But he sees something in the water coming up to him as he says, "What in the hell?" Several Atlantean soldiers come out with guns and say, "There he is, he will come with us." But of course, the Abomination refuses, and it causes an ensuing battle, with the Abomination eventually throwing a Ferris wheel at them before taking one of their guns and pointing it at their boss. Abomination then asks while pointing the gun at him, "Who ordered you to do this?" A voice answers, "I did, but not to capture you. They're supposed to capture the Hulk. You are not the Hulk. I have no idea who you are. This is all a misunderstanding." As we see, it's Namor. Abomination then introduces himself saying, "My name is m.o.d.o.k, though some call me the Abomination." Namor then says, "Here, take this pill. It allows you to breathe underwater and come with me." Abomination asks, "Why should I?" Namor replies, "Are you doing anything else?" Elsewhere, we see the Maestro returning to his palace in Dystopia, where the minister asks, "Can I safely assume that Dr. Doom is disposed of?" Maestro replies, "He got away." It continues to say he doesn't care as long as he rots in Latveria, staying out of his way. We are then taken to Dr. Doom, who we see is very badly injured with a broken arm and broken legs, being wheelchair bound, having to be pushed around by his assistant Winston. But hurt or not, this is Dr. Doom, so he's still planning on a way to take down Maestro. He even contacts Rick Jones for help, but sees that Jones is going senile and is going to be no use to him. We are then brought back to Dystopia, where we see the minister who works for the Maestro is secretly plotting against him with Namor. We also learn that Namor has made several cities under the sea, and the one he's currently in is specifically called Pacifica, where he's taking Abomination. Namor then takes Abomination along with his wife and son to a room to show them what he's going to use to take down Maestro. He releases a secret weapon on Maestro, which we soon find out is the original Human Torch, the synthetic human, Jim Hammond. The Human Torch then starts blasting Maestro with fire, but when he sees it's not working, he tells Maestro, "Let's see how you survive the Nova Flame," which he unleashes on Maestro, then leaves back to Pacifica thinking he's killed the Maestro, but he hasn't, as he gets back up saying he's headed to the ocean. Okay then, round 2. This brings us to issue 2. Issue 2 opens up in the depths of the Pacific Ocean, where the Human Torch returns to Pacifica thinking he's defeated Maestro, unaware he's actually following him, leading Maestro to Namor City. When the Human Torch arrives, Namor asks, "So, how did it go?" He responds, "I incinerated whatever remained of Los Angeles and the Maestro." Namor asks, "So you were saying the Maestro was dead?" Human Torch replies, "I am saying that no one could survive that heat. Nothing living." Namor then says, "Well done, James. It's nice to have him attended to." But as soon as he says that, he hears a big boom as Namor's soldiers scream, "Attack!" At which point we see it's Maestro saying, "By all means, bring it," as he starts smashing his way in. Maestro then says, "Namor, are you going to hide behind your guards, or do you have the nerve to come out and face me?" He replies, "I have more than sufficient nerve," even warning Maestro to stand down, which causes Maestro to start laughing. At which point Namor says, "Stop laughing or I'll unleash my guard upon you." Maestro says, "You mean the guards I just got all across the street? Those guards?" Namor says, "No, not those guards, that guard, my second biggest. Pray you never meet my largest one, as he unleashes a huge sea monster on Maestro. But come on, this is Maestro. It only takes a moment to overpower this massive kaiju sea monster and swing it at Namor. At this point, Namor's son Leonard comes to help, but Namor says, "No, stand down, son." Namor's guards start blasting Maestro, but it just makes him more pissed, so he grabs one of the tentacles of the sea monster and swings it at Namor's wife and son, crushing them with a monster. Namor goes over to check on them, but they're dead. It's too late. At this point, Abomination steps up to stop Maestro from killing Namor. This distracts him long enough for Namor to get a sneak attack in with his trident, saying, "I'll kill you, you bastard." But unfortunately, him, Abomination, and the Human Torch are teleported to Dr. Doom's castle, where we see Dr. Doom walking with a cane in his armor saying, "Help me gain revenge on Maestro. You must." As his legs give out and he falls to the floor. Human Torch then asks, "Okay, who the hell is this?" As the issue ends, which leads us to issue 3. But first, how do you guys feel about winning a custom Hummer? I thought so. Well, we're stupid excited to be working with m.o.d.o.k to give you the chance to win an all-electric Hummer EV Edition 1 and support an incredible cause at the same time. True story. Just go to m.o.d.o.k.com/variant to enter for your chance to win. How is this possible? m.o.d.o.k gives you the chance to dream big and win once-in-a-lifetime prizes, all while helping nonprofits make the world a better place. This unique combination has made it possible for m.o.d.o.k to raise over $150 million for charity to date. And for this specific sweepstakes, the winner takes home this next-level Hummer EV Edition 1, which features massive screens on the dashboard, a crab walk feature to get you around harsh terrain, and a 1,000 horsepower all-electric engine that does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That's hold on to your ball speed right there. But again, the best part is that all entry donations support the amazing work of Rebuilding Together, a really great nonprofit that makes essential repairs to help neighbors stay in their homes. They also do incredible work addressing the long-term recovery of communities struck by natural disasters. So this is a true win-win. You could drive away in a dream ride and help neighbors in need get their homes fixed. So for your chance to win an all-electric Hummer EV Edition 1, go to m.o.d.o.k.com/variant and enter now. You'll be glad you did. Okay, let's get back to World War M with issue 3. The opening page picks up on the outskirts of a dystopia with the minister checking out the wastelands in the Maestro's absence. He then gets attacked by Janice and Accord. Janice then tells the minister, "My grandpa wants to talk to you." They then escort the minister back to Gramps, where the minister says, "Ricky Jones, the Maestro has spoken of you." He replies, "I'll bet." Minister then asks, "Why are you staring at me?" Rick Jones says, "Toro? Geez, you got old. Can you still flame?" Minister Shock says, "My God, not for ages now. How did you know?" Rick Jones says, "Brooklyn accent, pretty distinctive." Accord then asks, "Who's Toro?" John tells her, "Old sidekick of the original Human Torch." Jones then asks, "So why do you work for Maestro?" He responds, "I don't. I worked for his predecessor. He just took over. I've just been going along with it, hoping that something would come along to destroy him." They then ask, like what? What's his weakness? How do we destroy him? He replies, "He doesn't have any that I know of. His strength is limitless, and anywhere that it falls short, he's able to outthink his opponent." Then back in Latveria, we see that Namor has found Dr. Doom's wine cellar and is getting drunk while mourning his wife and son. Meanwhile, the Maestro returns to land saying, "I could go after them, but how? I have no idea where Doom is. Fine, wherever they are, let them cower there. If they dare to show up, I will dispose of them, the way I did with Hercules, AIM, and the Pantheon." Back at Doom's castle, we see Abomination has joined Namor in getting drunk, and they bond over both of them being thought of as villains. But from their perspectives, they're not. After drinking so much, Abomination passes out, but is awakened by the Human Torch, who asks, "Where's Namor?" But he tells him, "I don't know. He didn't say where he was going." Then on the next page, we see Namor has gone somewhere under sea to summon some sort of sea monster. Elsewhere, Abomination has made his way to Winston, saying, "You're Winston, yes? Doom's servant?" He replies, "That's correct. Can I help you in some way, Mr. Blonsky?" Abomination replies, "Absolutely." And we see the way of helping him is teleporting him to Alchemax, where Maestro is. Abomination then punches Maestro, saying, "Oh good, I didn't have to go looking for you." The two then start fighting, but it's obvious that Maestro is stronger, and Abomination is no match for him. Maestro says, "I'm going to kill you," but Abomination never fights back, with Maestro eventually saying, "Why don't you fight back?" Abomination replies, "What's the point? Our whole world is dead. What's there worth fighting for?" Maestro just stares at him before the ground starts shaking. Maestro then looks up saying, "Holy crap." As we see, it's Namor saying, "Maestro, you destroyed what I loved. Now I will return the favor." Imperious Rex, which is a battle cry Namor uses while on top of a giant kaiju sea monster, Whale Thing. And this brings us Issue 4. Issue 4 starts off with Namor using his giant kaiju to wreck shop on Maestro, but as he's doing so, the spirit and voices of Namor's son and wife appear, with his son saying, "You're doing wonderfully, father. Look at them fleeing from you." His wife says, "What did I ever do in life to make you think I would enjoy seeing such destruction? Those people running, screaming, they have loved ones, as you did, wives, husbands, children. Do they not deserve to go home to them?" Saying, "My love, think of what you are doing." And this now, before it's, at which point her son pushes her off the kaiju, with the monster crushing her. Namor says, "Good move, son. We didn't need her." Meanwhile, Maestro looks up at the monster saying, "That thing's gotta be 300 feet tall. I've never fought anything that huge before." Well, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, as he leaps toward the beast, but it just backhands him, sending him flying into a castle. With the minister approaching Maestro saying, "How is the fight going?" Maestro responds, "All according to plan, minister." In Latveria, Winston wakes up Doom and brings them to the monitors to show him what's going on. Doom says, "Has Namor lost his mind? We want to conquer the world. Who's going to rule over it if we destroy everybody? Quickly, bring me the transmat beam." Doom then finds out that Winston teleported Abomination to Dystopia and asks, "Why did you do that?" He replies, "You asked me to. You told me to accommodate the guests whenever possible." Doom then just stares at him. At this point, the Human Torch arrives and sees shoes on the ground with a bone sticking out, saying, "Was that Winston?" He says, "Was, yes, not so much now." Doom then says to the Human Torch, "Come with me to the transmat room to repair it." Meanwhile, back in Dystopia, Abomination saves a mom and her son from getting crushed by the monster, holding his foot up in the air, telling them to run. They then thank Abomination, but he says, "Don't thank me, just get out of here before," and before he could finish his sentence, a massive sign falls on them, crushing them. This pisses off Abomination, so he starts charging the monster. Meanwhile, Maestro is back trying to defeat Namor and this beast. Maestro eventually uses a spear to stab the beast in the eye, causing it to freak out and knock Namor off. And as Abomination is about to tackle him, he is transported back to Dr. Doom's castle as Doom and Torch clearly fix the transmat. Doom tries to electrocute him, but he responds, "Electricity? Truly? Can you think to jolt someone who can absorb the blast of 1,000 electric eels?" He says idiot while throwing them to the floor. Then back in Dystopia, we see the injured kaiju retreat back into the water after just losing an eye. We also see that Abomination tries to drown himself, but Maestro saves him. While the two sit on the shore, the Maestro says, "Namor did a lot of damage, killed a lot of people. He should be made to pay for that." Doom 2, "Do you want to do something useful? Find a way for me to get vengeance." Abomination says, "You mean like produce a common device that I could use to transport myself back to Latveria and let you hitch a ride?" As he shows Maestro just that, with Maestro getting up saying, "Then let's get started." And with that, the issue comes to a close, so let's see how the story wraps up with issue 5. Issue 5 starts off with Abomination trying to teleport him and Maestro back to Latveria. Only problem is Winston is dead, but Namor picks up the device with Winston's incinerated foot, and with some plotting between Namor, Doom, and Human Torch, they eventually teleport them back to Latveria. But they're teleported into a cell. Then Doom via a monitor says, "By all means, attempt to break out." But both of the bars and floors are made of adamantium, a metal that defies even your strength. Maestro asks, "So you're just gonna leave us here forever?" Doom responds, "Oh no, nothing so mundane. No, I'm going to gas you to death. I know you could hold your breath for quite long, but not, I surmise, forever. This has been a stimulating engagement, Dr. Banner, but I'm afraid it's now ended. Farewell." Namor then tells Doom, "I dislike this. Poisoning an enemy from a safe distance, it seems cowardly." Doom responds, "But efficient. We win. And winning is all that matters." Meanwhile, back in the cell, Maestro realizes if he turns back into Banner, he'll be puny enough to slip through the bars and escape, which is exactly what he does. Once outside the cell, he returns back to Maestro form, with Jim watching saying, "Damnation." Maestro then says, "He said the floor was adamantium. Fine, but it's gotta be bolted to the floor of the room, and that isn't adamantium." With both Maestro and Abomination free, they start running through the castle, and their plan is to have Abomination hack Doom's computers. But Namor comes crashing through the ceiling saying, "Found you." Maestro then starts attacking Namor to let Abomination get to the computers. Maestro and Namor then get into an epic battle, trading blows back and forth, with Namor saying, "It should have been us, Hulk. We should have brought the world to its knees. I teamed with you and I teamed with Doom, and you both betrayed me. We could have ruled together," but the Maestro ultimately knocks him out, defeating him. At this point, Dr. Doom comes crashing in what I could only assume is his Maestro Buster armor, shooting an energy cannon at Maestro, knocking him on his butt. And Doom would have likely defeated Maestro if it wasn't for Abomination having hacked Doom's computers, teleporting Maestro back to Dystopia and taking over the Human Torch, forcing him to go supernova, allowing him to blow up and kill Doom, Namor, Human Torch, and even himself. Doom even says, "But you'll die too." Abomination responds, "Life is overrated. Nadia, I'm coming, baby," as he blows them all up. Then on the very last page of the issue, we see the Maestro back on his throne saying, "The people, they rebuild my throne and grovel in front of me. Funny, I was one of the first Avengers, and then I belonged to a group called the Defenders." And I seem to recall Namor and the Human Torch were also part of a group. But in the end, groups aren't necessary. I suppose if you're sufficiently strong enough and ingenious enough, you don't need anybody. Not when you're the Maestro. And with that, the story ends, leading us straight into the original Hulk Future Imperfect story that spawned all of this. But there you have it, guys. Maestro World War M. I absolutely love this series. Like the previous two mini-series in the trilogy, it was a ton of fun. Peter David really hit the target with the overall story arc of Maestro's origin, and we highly recommend you read all three series for yourselves, especially if you're a big Hulk fan. But now it's your turn. Let us know what you guys think of this series down in the comments. First up for the week of December 14th, we have Deadpool issue 2. Deadpool has less than 24 hours to kill Dr. Octopus if he wants into the most elite assassin alliance in the world. Now we have Superman Son of Kal-El issue 18. With the landmark Action Comics 1050 just around the corner, prepare for the ultimate battle between Superman and Lex Luthor as Clark and John continue their intensive training. Here we have Invincible Iron Man 1. Tony Stark, the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, has lost it all. His wealth, his fame, his friends. But Stark doesn't realize he still has so much more to lose, especially when the assassins start to come for him. Fourth on the list, we have Batman Spawn issue 1. Two dark heroes cursed by tragedy find their paths crossing again, but not by choice. What sinister foe is at work pitting the Dark Knight against the Hellspawn? We saw these two heroes collide in the 90s, but what's gonna happen this time? And finally, we have Planet Hulk World Breaker issue 2. A high priestess fills a stone starship prison with small green children. A Harg helps a small green girl search for a world breaker. A world breaker grapples with 1,000 years of doom. On a world broken again and again by prophecy and catastrophe, which Hulk will finally dare to fight again? And that's going to bring today's episode to a close, but if you dug this one, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps the channel out. But other than that, I'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.